thrown onto YouTube are talks I've given where I'm trying to convince people, not only the public, but lawmakers and people in power, that investing in the frontier of science, however remote it may seem in its relevance to what you're doing today, is a way of stockpiling the seed corns of future harvests of this nation. And those seed corns, what they do is, whether or not you know it today, advancing a frontier, history has shown, has advanced the culture ever since the Industrial Revolution got underway. And we can speak more hegemonistically about it, that anyone who has embraced the powers of technology has enjoyed economic wealth, the likes of which the world has never seen, attendant with strength of security, okay? And so people say today, they'll say, suppose the next terrorist attack is like a chemical attack. Do you call out the Marines, or do you get your best chemists to figure out what to do about that? There's a point where your weapons are not as useful as the brain of the scientist who you could bring to bear on the problem. And so I see science and technology and creative investments in it as the most significant infusion to our economy that could possibly be conceived. The problem is it's not going to boost the economy next quarter. It's got a time horizon longer than most people have the patience for, and most politicians have the re-election cycle to be tolerant of. So what we need is a longer view on those investments. I don't want to have NASA going hand in hand trying to get money to stimulate the frontier of cosmic discovery. And that frontier now involves biologists in the search for life, chemists in understanding the soils of Mars, aerospace engineers. You know what I don't want to do? I don't want to stand in front of 8th graders and say, who wants to be an aerospace engineer so that you can design an airplane that's 15% more fuel efficient than the one your father flew? That's not going to get him. But if I say, who wants to be an engineer and design the airfoil that'll fly in the rarefied atmosphere of Mars, I'm going to get the best students in the class, and you know it, because that's an exciting project for smart people to work on, motivated people to work on. And when you have them, they invent stuff. They discover things. They transform the culture in which we live on a time horizon that is not easy to just tell someone in a one-sentence soundbite. And what I want is a level of science and cultural literacy that will allow the public to be able to think beyond the election cycle, to think for themselves and say, this is a good investment. How many times have you heard people say, if you're not among us here, why are we spending money up there when we have the problems down here? Have you ever asked how much money we're spending up there? Ask that question. You know what the answer is? I've asked people, how much money do you think we're spending? Here's your tax dollar. How much do you think? 10%? 15%? Those are the kinds of answers I get. You know how much is getting spent? The rovers, the space station, the space shuttles, all the launch vehicles, all the NASA centers is 0.6 of 1 penny on your tax dollar. 0.6 of 1 penny pays for it all. And you're telling me, why are we spending money there and down here? If you need that money to solve these problems, you got some other problems going on, okay? That's a whole other problem with society. So, I'm sorry, I'm spitting, I'm getting off. So my point is, I think the greatest, the greatest need is to be able to have the foresight necessary to make investments on the frontier of science, even if at the time you make those investments, you cannot figure out how that might make you rich tomorrow.